Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this?
All right, and here we go again. Welcome to In the Cut. I am Victor Mohan, CEO of Mohan's Custom Tailors, the legendary Mohans, and all that don't know, so man, he is a UFC pioneer. He is one of the first ever do step into the octagon. He took part in UFC 7, right? Ultimate. He fought the best.
I was in 5 UFCs, 6, 7, 8, the Ultimates 1 and 2, and then worldwide, all over the place.
Yeah. You even fought in Japan or no?
Oh yeah, several times. I fought in U Japan, Kingdom. I think I had 3 or 4 fights in Japan. I gotta look. I had 3 or 4 fights in Japan, couple fights in Brazil, fight in Amsterdam, fight in Ukraine.
What a resume! It's impressive, extremely impressive.
Do you want to go back a little further? My football resume. I've got a bowl game ring from the California Raisin Bowl. San Jose State was 20th in the nation in 90 or 91.
Football. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm not surprised there because you're a super heavyweight. You're a super
yeah.
So, yeah. So, as you were asking me before, where in New York do I reside? I reside in Rego Park, Queens, which is right next to Elmhurst, which, as everyone knows, is the center of the epicenter of this crisis going on, especially here in NYC. And when I'm actually driving around, I try to pass by the hospital to see what's going on, and it looks it's really packed. They have these extra tents outside. I see a whole bunch of police officers, a whole bunch of EMTs, lines. There are lines. It's heartbreaking. Really heartbreaking.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So,
I started off in the denial place with this business, this whole COVID thing. Like, I really was like, okay, it's for the older and the, immune system thing and blah, blah, blah. But there's undeniably, it's hitting people that are very healthy and hitting them hard. And then there's older people getting it and it's not hitting them very hard. So, there's all kinds of things flying around right now. Like, what can make it worse? Like, I guess, NSAIDs, like ibuprofen, and maybe even Aleve, which I took a lot of, and now I'm not taking it. I'm not taking any Aleve or Advil, whatever you want to call it. They're saying people that died, that's in their systems. I mean, that's just the word. You know what I mean? And I don't know I don't know how much of that is true, but you know what? If there's enough people talking about it, I'm off my pain meds right now. So I'm a bit grumpy because my back's killing me. I got injuries everywhere.
I mean, you know what? We got to do what we got to do, and
Yeah.
And it's easy because Trump says one thing, and then the governor says one thing. Okay. First of all right. At the beginning of the week, he said that we were going to be opening up by Easter. So how did that sound to you? He said, "Why not Easter?" Did you buy it then?
Well, as soon as Mexico pays for the wall, I'll start putting some more stock in Trump's statements. As soon as that wall gets paid for, I'll be like, oh, hey, well, maybe. I think we're just lucky Canada doesn't wall us off, but that's another story. But you know what's weird though? What's weird is that I think he was the one that threw out that story about that medication for malaria being something that might halt the thing.
Yeah.
And I think he spread that first, but there's actually some doctors backing it up, and there are studies being started. So I gotta say that's the one thing that he said that held some weight. So maybe I might listen a little bit more to him. So I forget the name of that stuff. We should know the name of that just so we can.
It's hydrochloroxy. I don't know, but
yeah,
it was mainly used for patients that had the malaria or something, right?
Malaria. Yeah, it's a malaria treatment. It kills the bug that does the malaria thing. So maybe it handles that too. So maybe they're onto something. That'd be nice. Like with all these all the respirator stories. I think we talked last time. I said, I've got a CPAP because I've got that sleep apnea, and I'm like, well, maybe that can help me if I need the breathing thing, because I'll tell you the truth, that's one of my weaknesses is definitely my lungs. My lungs have definitely been an area that's when I get sick, that's where I get sick. So that's not good.
Yeah, so don't get out of the house, brother. Stay indoors. Stay indoors.
It's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts.
Problems if you already have exactly. I mean, it's actually driving me nuts just being home and not being able to live normally. I mean, this is just horrible. But
I gotta ask you, okay?
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, what? Are you Greek?
People think I look like everything else except for what I am. I'm Indian.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I can see that.
I'm
you
Indian,
got the Greek design thing on, and Astoria, where I spent some time in Astoria, is a big Greek neighborhood. Is Astoria anywhere near you?
Yes, it is. So Astoria.
I went to PS17. I went to PS17. Lived right up the block from there with my dad for about a year and a half. So I spent some time in Queens. That's where. Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. So you used to live in New York?
Yeah. I was actually born at a naval hospital that doesn't exist there anymore. Like it's hard for me to get my paperwork because that hospital's gone. I have to go jump through all kinds of hoops to get my birth certificates. It's almost like I'm a super sacred agent there. I don't have any paperwork, but I was born in Queens, born in New York, and spent some time out there. And I was there the year that Reagan got shot, and John Lennon got shot, and I was there for the ticker tape parade for the hostages from Iran. It was a big year. I think it was like 79 or 80.
Really? Okay. So you were around what age at that time?
That would have been fifth grade. So I guess I was. I'm not even sure what fifth grade is the because I remember 1978. So I was 69. I went to PS17, so it was before junior high. Yeah, it was fifth grade, definitely fifth grade. And that was a big year. That was a crazy year. I was out there with my dad. He drove up one day, said, "Want to go to New York?" I hopped in his car. We drove to New York. It's crazy. But yeah, no, I like New York, but you know what? I'm not going to visit for a little while. I got to tell you.
Okay. When's the next time you might be planning to come here? I mean, actually, you know what? As of right now,
I'm planning on going. You missed the joke. I said I'm not going for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
Until it clears out a little bit. Yeah. No, but I'd love to get up there. But as soon as things get back to normal, I'd love to come up and visit because I got some friends there. I got a friend who's a stand-up comedian, Jonas Barnes. He's a funny guy. We did a roast. For Dan Severin at a autograph when he retired. His retirement year. It was his official retirement. Which I think he still does matches too, though. But he was saying it was his retirement year. We roasted him, had a really good time. It was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. That was what was that? It was 2015. I think 2015 was that. That was the year we did that.
Sounds great.
So how many people do you know that's his head.
How many people that I know that what?
Has the COVID situation. Do you have any close friends?
Me personally, no. No,
Wow.
I don't. Do you?
Good. Nobody so far. Nobody so far. I got my fingers crossed. My mom's older. I hope she just stays. She's up in Alaska. She's in she's 70 something right now. I'm just praying that she steers clear of it. But so far nobody I know. But you hear so much, just wondering.
A lot of people are catching it.
Actually, you know what? One of my girlfriend's, she does some work for Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. One of her people she works for, she came down with it. She's running the lady's financially self-set up, and she's doing a kind of like an app for dating app for older women. But yes, she got sick with it recently. So I do know one person. that got sick from it, and I have some friends who are going to go on a cruise, and that got shut down. They got shut down, and there's the ripple effects everywhere.
Yeah, we're all
how much have you switching over to mailing with your business right now? How's that working for you?
What's happened here is that, of course the business is closed. We're not an essential business, essential, but
right.
The packages are still actually, like the clothing that orders went out. So now the clothing is coming. We're collecting the clothing, and the business is closed, but we're still UPSing the clothing.
Right. No, that's smart. That's super smart. Do you guys have a website? Do you have a website people can order on? Okay.
MohansNYC.com.
Okay.
Super. Just go to MohansNYC.com. Let me get the dog. Now I want to introduce you to my dog here.
Oh no! What a cutie! I love that. Is that what is that? What is that? What breed is that? Is that mix?
It's a Shih Tzu.
Shih Tzu. Oh, they're so cute. I love. Yeah, is it he or she?
He. His name is Nova.
Nova. What a cutie.
He's like a super.
Yeah.
Nova here. See it?
He's super cute. You got a little side there. Hi, Nova. Hi.
Yeah, so we're trying to keep him indoors as well because animals can catch it.
Dogs can get it. Dogs can get it, and they're arguing right now if dogs can pass it between humans. Like it's crazy, Like everybody, you just got to keep everybody locked up. They got some pretty funny dog videos with the dogs with masks on and stuff. Like I love dogs. I've always loved dogs. And it's funny. I used to really kind of not be when I was younger, I wasn't a small dog guy, but now I'm all about small dogs. I'm all about small dogs. Like big dogs I don't have the yard space, and big dogs are great, but little dogs, they got a lot of personality. There's a lot of personality packed into them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They have I'm surprised how smart my dog is. He's really smart. It's the first dog I've ever had because I have just cats. I have about at most the most amount of cats I had was 8. Now I'm down to 6. My favorite cat actually passed away 2 years ago. Yeah, like my favorite cat. Yeah.
You get more than 8 cats though, dude, and you might qualify for cat lady guy,
cat lady guy. Well, my wife also loves cats too, so it's all good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, did you see my post? Did you see my that footage I got from the Connor camp?
Yeah, like the 2 rats.
Yeah.
So tell me more about that.
You know what? I saw another rat fight video that was pretty awesome. It looked like 2 rats fighting in a bodega actually, but I couldn't find that video, so I went and looked for another video with some pretty, and you know what? They were doing side mount. They were doing, if you take a look at it, there's some techniques there. These rats were kind of applying some skills. Rat jitsu. They were doing some rat jitsu there, you know?
Speaking of MMA news, so it just came out that John Jones, who they call the GOAT, the greatest of all time, what is he doing?
You know, okay.
What is wrong with him? I feel like,
You know what? Here's the psychological breakdown of what helps a fighter: aggressiveness, inborn aggressiveness, and gives you an edge. It's harder to be a non-psychopathic fighter than it is to be a psychopath. Like, honestly, you know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be surprised. Really, you shouldn't be surprised, because the same psychological flaws in normal people are what make an amazing fighter. So, and even football play, anything with hitting, anything with aggression. So, like, really, honestly, you've got a lot of things go on where cops give passes. People give passes. People get guys out of bad situations. And even me, I mean, I've had situations in my past where things went down, things went bad, and people covered for my ass, luckily. And but that isn't normally me. That was definitely, my situation was something where I was defending myself, but I was too damn good at it. Okay. But back to something like that. There's a pattern there. You see the pattern there. It's not his first time having problems. And he's got impulse. He's got impulse control problems and ego issues. And that you mix those together and you got a problem. I mean, one of the best all time, Mike Tyson, man, before he got his shit together, he was off his they would take him off his meds to fight. You know that?
I didn't know that.
What Testamato would take Tyson off his meds about 6 months before his fight and build up the crazy, get that shit out of the system. So by the time he was walking in the ring, you were fighting a fucking just an insane person. And insane people have a lot of fucking power. Okay? So, but what Testamato did to Tyson was horrible in the fact that he didn't make a system where he was 90,000 years old and gonna die when he was putting Tyson together like that. And he didn't set it up where Tyson had somebody that he respected as much as Testamato that could control him. So once Testamato was gone, coming off his meds, he never went back on. That's why the rape, that's why the violence, that's why all the stuff is he was a person who was ill and needed his medicine, but wasn't taking it and didn't have anybody with a strong enough hand in his life once Testamato was gone to get him back on his meds too. And the beautiful thing about Tyson today is what was done to him, it wasn't fair. I mean, he owns it now, and he's come so far, and he's such a healthier person now that I respect the shit out of him. But those are all the reasons. Getting back to John Jones, is that's you got a guy who the same skills that make him one of the world's best of all time, out in the real world, there's no place for it. There's no place for his mental set and his skills, his mental skills in the ring are social pariah out in the world. So if you've got a guy like that, you got to be smart enough to know yourself and manage yourself, or have somebody you can get to do it for you and realize you need that help. He needs a side guy. He needs a hitman, like a best friend who's going to fucking be able to go, dude, chill the fuck out. Bad decision. Back the fuck down. Because Jones doesn't have it. Jones doesn't have it in his head. He doesn't have it. So if you know thyself, that's the most powerful knowledge. We know your weaknesses. If you can parlay your illness into incredible fighting skills or sports skills, which lots of people do. A lot of the best all time have something wrong with them, but they learned how to aim it. It's I call it dancing with the fire. I had the same kind of thing from my childhood. That's why I knew I could fight. It's a long story. But all the greats have something that nobody else has, and it's usually some pain. It's pain that's been turned into a gift or turned into a tool. Instead of turning it on yourself and hurting yourself, you turn it outward and you apply it to the world. And it's unfair for guys who are just coming from a normal, natural place. When you're fighting a guy that's got that kind of weird, crazy thing going on, they can take more pain, they can put more out than you can normally. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like
yeah, wow.
It's almost like it's so undefinable. You can't really define it, but that's the reality. That's the reality. If you really wanted to have a level playing field for fighters, you have the messed up ones, the psychologically messed up ones, which would be the world class, and then you'd have your people that are like kind of just normal, kind of like put together normal, you know. So we want to see the pain and the intensity and the crazy in the ring, but there's no place for it in our world. So I mean, there's got to be. Basically, if you're going to be a world-class guy, or you want to be a world-class guy, and you probably got some issues, you got to learn to manage that shit. You got to learn to manage that shit, and that's there you go. That's my piece on the John Jones thing.
And he hasn't done that, and the fans are going against him once again. They're writing him off. They're like, you know what? He's a bum. He's not the GOAT. He's
right.
And what do you
think? There's more to the world than fighting. There's more to the world than fighting, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I would only give him another chance if he could be honest and say, hey, I got problems, and I've found this way to manage my problems, and I'm going to stick with it like Tyson has. And then you got to give somebody a chance who's going to be honest and going to do the work to make the change. You got to give a person a chance that way. That's what the world is. That's what the United States is about. That's what the world is about. But if he's going to be in denial and he's going to not make changes, then fuck him. Sorry.
That's it. Yeah. So John, if you see this, get your shit together for real.
If you need somebody to manage you, polar bear, I can handle it. I can handle it. Like, I could not only suggest that he fucking doesn't do it, I can shut his ass down. I might be old and long in the tooth, but I still have it. I got a good 3 minutes in me. I got 3 minutes in me. I can shut it down.
3 minutes of pain.
3 minutes of pure insanity, baby. And you know what's funny is bears, it's famous for the same thing. If you don't kill a bear, you wound a bear, and you're within reach of them, they're gonna fucking kill you because they're unstoppable. For you can once a bear's adrenaline's going, you can shoot its heart out, and it'll go on its adrenaline for like a minute, 2 minutes. So if you're gonna shoot a bear, do it from far away. If you're not good at putting it down right away, because they will keep coming till they kill you. Like bears are kind of scary. They really are. and it's funny.
Them.
Huh?
Thank God I never ran into one of them. A real, I've never seen a real bear.
Yeah, a real life bear, man. You don't fucking there was a guy in a. Huh?
I don't even think I actually saw a real life bear in a zoo before. So I've just seen it on TV and movies.
You know what's funny is when I was a kid and I was in New York, I went to the zoo out there. I went to the big zoo. I forget what zoo it is, but they had this gorilla enclosure. And I walked into the gorilla enclosure, and this full silverback, and this is back when they had them in like the cages and stuff. I mean, there was green and stuff, but this wasn't like the nifty neat zoos they have now. This was kind of, like the old school zoo. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. But this gorilla, as I walk in, this guy, full bore, comes at the cage, hits the cage, starts pounding on it. The entire place was shaking. I ran out of that enclosure because it felt like he was about to break free. It really did. And I mean, like being like, I went nose to nose with a bear when I was a kid too. Like those are experiences. That kind of fear, that kind of high level fear changes a person. It'll change how you look at the world. It'll make you like seriously not scaredy cautious, but learn to take a look around you where you are, check your environment out. Because once you come face to face with some death, like you could die, you should step up your game, or you're going to be taken out anyway, because that's why nature does that. It teaches us to respect where you are, respect what's around you, know your place. You know,
exactly. Know your place and know yourself.
Know yourself. Man, the only thing in the way of almost 100% of the people in the world is themselves. If people could get out of their own way, realize what their strengths and their weaknesses are, and work with them, there'd be a world of successes. It really would. There really is no need for lower level, upper level. People could just kick ass and do well altogether. They really could. And 90, there's room for everything, but we self-destruct. And I'm saying from experience, the things I've gotten my way has been myself. Like I was in my own way so many times. I got so many issues I got in my own way, and I had to get out of my own way to get better, to make the changes. But that's the hardest thing in the world, is being honest with yourself. Like really being honest with yourself. I mean, we live in a world of people lying to themselves,
delusional,
making more of themselves than they really are. And
very, very delusional. Oh my God, I know so many people like that. It's like, but it's like, I don't want to say anything. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? Whatever makes you happy, that's fine.
Yeah.
To
Absolutely.
each their own. But in the back of my head, I'm like, damn, delusional. Holy.
Bro. Especially as a fighter, you'll find people that will make claims of how they had fought you and they beat you up in a fight and that happened to me one time in California when I first started fighting. Some guy was talking shit that he beat my ass and I was like, really? And I ignored it for a while, but this guy was really trying to make his bones on my back. And people kept coming to me. People go, this guy, he goes to these parties, he tells everybody how he kicked your ass, da-da-da-da-da-da. And finally I was like, you know what? I got to do this. I gotta go walk up on this guy. And one of my good friends, I used to have a big posse of guys, right? He's like, I know where he's going to be. I know what he does. And let's go beat his ass. I'm like, dude, just chill. Let me just walk in the room and see what happens. And the guy, oh my God, he was standing there. He was standing up on a chair and like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I walked in. Mm-hmm. And the place goes from, party sound, drinking, talking, da-da-da-da-da, and there's one loud guy in the back. The place goes silent. There had to be like 30 to 50 people in this room, and he was dead silent. And everybody all looks at him.
Face on or what?
Huh?
You had that angry face on or what? Or like?
No, not at all. I just walked in. Because that's not me. That's not me. I don't even get the angry face until I have to, right? Like I'm chilling until I have to. Like, and I knew it was. I thought I knew it was going to happen, but it was better than anything I ever could have imagined. It goes quiet. Everybody looks at him, then they look at me, and then they look back at him, and he goes, "I'm an asshole. I'm so full of shit. I've never even met him. He would murder me. I'm so sorry." He came up to me and he's like, I never thought I'd meet you. I never thought this would get back to you. I mean, he was almost crying, like bent over in front of me. And I'm like, wow. I was like, okay, that's good enough. And, it was crazy how he switched gears. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, literally the guy was like not even 6 foot, not even 150 pounds. I mean, I kind of wanted to ask him what was he thinking, but he was doing so much shitting on himself. I didn't need to. You know what I mean? Like I didn't. Yeah. And so it was. But that exists. That exists. That kind of like it's, you know what it's like? I've because so much of it's happened to me. It's like when you put somebody's words, name in your mouth that exists in the world, that they're out in the world, they have weight. It's like you're borrowing their weight. It's like while those words of them are in their mouth, they start to materialize in the world like they never do before. And without your name in their mouth, it's like they don't exist.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be, you know what I mean? And so many silly situations. So many,
It happens. It happens to me as well.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, like. So yeah, but it's just funny. It's human psychology. Oh my god! I mean, that's what this show is going to be all about. I mean, when we talk about when the fight game gets back up, we start analyzing these fights. I'm going to be coming at from, not just how they perform, but why they're performing the way they're performing. That's you want which way to change.
There is one fight. There is one fight that you can analyze for us right now that happened.
Absolutely, bro.
Tell me what happened in the Yoel Romero fight versus what's his name?
Oh yeah. That's Romero was the one who was talking all the shit in the very end of it when the time was out.
Yeah.
Romero was he older guy coming to the end of his career. He had a lot to lose as far as his ego was so out of control. He was too afraid to take the risk on winning. So he was so scared of losing badly that he couldn't step it up to engage and go for the win. Like he may have had it in him physically, he may have had the skill in him, but his own ego was in the way. Like he wouldn't step up and engage. Okay? Like if a guy wants to win a fight, he's coming after it. But if you're coming after it, you're gonna get hit. You're gonna be open. You gotta trade. You gotta trade.
Another UFC legend by the name of Randy Couture. I think he said it best. He said, "Impose your will."
Yeah.
Impose your will.
Absolutely.
That's what you have to do from start to finish.
And what the termite of will is? Ego. At some point, it's ego. Okay, we want to look good, but we don't want to look bad. There's as much. If you don't have ego in check, it starts saying, "Hey, we don't want to lose what we have. Hey, we don't want to look bad. We don't want to." I mean, I've had good friends, and they're going nameless, who were much better technically than me. They're much better physically than me, but they were so worried about looking bad that when it was time to go, like they just folded up. They couldn't perform at the level that their potential was because they were too afraid and risking it. And there's also this too, bro. Some, like, I don't get it, but I do see it. If you put it all on the line, if you really put it all out there and you think you're at the best you can be and it doesn't pan out, what do you got then? Okay, so there's if a person can't see themselves getting even any better, if they think they're at a place where this is the best I'm going to be, and it doesn't good enough to make it through where they need to go, then that sends themselves the message they're done, right?
Yeah.
So I think Romero was creating an excuse for why it didn't happen for him.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't. I couldn't find that rhythm. Couldn't get in there. But he just wasn't going for it. Bottom line is he'd toe the water, throw a couple punches, and then he'd pull back. He'd pull back into like I'm measuring. I'm looking for the thing. Well, time's ticking away here, bro. You only got so much time to browse.
Israel was actually running. Now, is that true?
Yeah, he was. He was running. He was aggressive. He wanted to win. You could the pace that he was going at and the aggressiveness that he was showing was clearly a hungry individual that was ready to go for it and get it done. And he knows that there's ultimately for my camp anyway, I lost a lot of fights, but I gave it all up. And every time I gave it up and I came up short, I never felt that because I knew I could improve and I knew I gave it my all. And that's that. The great thing about the UFC, the old school UFC fight fans at least, and a lot of the new ones too, they respect giving it up. Like win or lose, if you put it all on the line and you had a great fight and you didn't wuss out, you didn't. They still respect you, and they're still going to want you. Your career is still alive. You don't have to be undefeated in MMA. You just have to be bring the good.
Dana White likes to see that when you bring it. You bring it.
And he should, and that's that's
that go in there and just bring it from start to finish.
And the truth is, the women are bringing it right now. If women's fights stay the way they stay, and the men's fights stay the way they've stayed, women will be the premier fighting. Women will be the premier fighting. I mark my words. Women will be the premier fights. And the premier, like on the card, there'll be the women's fight and there'll be the men's fight. If the men don't step up their game and stop being respectful and technically sound, the women will take. Because right now the women's fights are fucking awesome.
They're savages.
They're savages. And they're not worried about fucking, I'm gonna break a nail or they want to tear that bitch's bra off and stuff her weave up her butt, and that's what both of them. There ain't no holding back. And that's money, man. That's what you're paying for. That's as a fan, you're paying
like a boring women's fight actually, because they just bring it, all of them.
Bring it. Bring it. They never. I've not seen a ladies fight that's disappointed me yet. I've not really. I mean, there's
there. You guys are bringing it.
Yeah, and guys, better step up your game. Better put away the ego and go for it, because right now there's just no denying it, man. I mean that especially that last fight, and I can't even think of their names right now. With the Chinese girl and Frankenstein.
Yeah, and then she got that big.
Yeah, that shit was all time. Like, no, I mean not women's all time. That was like men's all time. I think that might be in my top 10 all time fights of all time. Maybe top 5. Maybe even top 5. If I really put the nails to it, because even a lot of just so much aggression, so much productivity, so much no back down. There was no back down in that. It was like bam, bam, two. Remember those toys when you were a kid that you'd wind them up and crash them into each other and they'd break apart. You put it back together again and bam. It's like that, man. It's like
millennials don't know about the stuff, but we had the best stuff back then.
We had the best toys, man. Evel Knievel, are you kidding me? The wind-up Evel Knievel? That was awesome. Like, you could get that thing to do just about anything, okay? Like, yeah, that was the shit. And I did a lot of posts with, like, my old toys. Like, I posted, and people go nuts over that on Facebook. Like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Like, it's Stretch Armstrong, which was kind of silly, but it was, if you're jiu-jitsu minded, Stretch Armstrong is a great toy for your kid. You want to introduce your kid to jiu-jitsu, get the Stretch Armstrong for him. Because he's a good pull and twist.
If we could get it, we'll probably get it on eBay.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well,
absolutely. Yeah. So that's honestly, mark my words. Mm-hmm. Right now, women's is the premier fight. In MMA, women's fights are premium. That's a premium. If I'm going to put my money down on a fight, you're going to say, okay, you want the men's championship or the women's championship? I'll put my money on I'll go watch the women's every day of the week. If I have to choose between the venues, say they're having an event and there was two floors and I had to go to, you're going to say, okay, want to go watch the women's event? You want to watch the men's? I'm going over the ladies, man. Because it's going to be a fight.
Yeah, because you're going to see real fights and it's like a guarantee. It's like a no-brainer. With the men's, you just don't know what you're going to get. So,
the men's fight's a lot like the women's. It is sad. It is sad, but they want to call it respect. They want to call it technical. Bottom line is it's boring. Bottom line is
bullshit.
it's boring and it's not as strong. It's not as strong. It's not a what a fight is two people with a mindset, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to do it.
Mm-hmm. At all costs.
You know, this like, well, I don't want to risk. Yeah, I don't want to take a risk and maybe lose this if I put too much into it. That's politics. That's politics. If I want to see that, I'll watch the Congress. You know. So.
Yeah. Speaking of politics.
Yeah.
The surplus plan, $2 trillion. Will it save us? Will it save the people? Will it save the economy? What do you think about that? Is that going to save us? Because right now our economy is so bad. They say that so we're back in those days of the Great Depression, and it may be worse than that. So will this $2 trillion surplus help us, save us? What do you think?
I mean, it's definitely a necessity right now because, you know, they say that like most people in America don't have more than $500 in savings. They have less than $500.
And that's crazy.
So if they don't have a job, they got no money coming in. How the fuck are they going to survive? That's scary. To me, that's as equally scary for me as far as our overall health as a country.
Yeah.
That is a serious concern. And, you know, like, honestly, fuck, man. If
I hope I don't see the purge happening.
Yeah, no, I don't see the purge either.
Crime is up. Crime is getting up now. You know.
Yeah, I know, and I hope on hopes that, you know, it's all good. But you know what? I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I really think at some point, even with what's going on, people need to sanitize, put gloves on, mask on, eye things on, whatever. We just gotta go back to work. We just have to. Like, there's just like, I think that I would say that, I don't know, man. I'm no expert on this, but just from a purely economical situation,
you know what?
Gotta keep money.
At this point, the experts are not even experts on this because we never.
Yeah.
We don't have.
At some point, we got to go back to work. At some point, we got to go back to work. We got to step up our cleanliness. You know, like handshakes are out. You know, the low foot five is in. You know, just keeping things clean. Yeah, keeping things clean.
Yeah.
And, you know, these motherfuckers they catch on camera licking shit who are sick. Need to go to fucking prison.
What's up with that? I see so much
prison.
So much
fucking because there's. And that's, you know, those are the people that already gave up on their life a long time ago. Those are people that life isn't even hardly worth living. If I wasn't such a coward, I'd kill myself. That's what kind of people they are. And they want other people to share in their misery. You know, misery loves company. It's not just a saying. It's a reality. And so those people are just, they're like, oh well, I want to see everybody else suffer too. And that's the lowest rung. That's the lowest rung on our society to me. Those people are the lowest rung. And, you know, I got a saying about people like that. Where logic is lacking, fear shall suffice. So we need a hardcore punishment for actions like that. People that do cowardly fucking things that can infect and hurt other people. That should be felony. That should be felony intent to do harm, or even because COVID kills, you could say that's attempted murder. Okay, so these motherfuckers are doing that. They need to be shut down. And the only thing that keeps a low-rung motherfucker like that, excuse my language, a low-rung person like that from doing anything is fear. They will only act right because of fear. Because God's lost his credit. Like God's stock's down, and so they're not afraid of going to hell anymore. So there's no reason other than fear of being thrown in prison, or fear of some sort of since the hell stock's gone, they got to have jail stock. Like
that's why people are acting so crazy. Here in NYC, just a few days ago, a train car got blown up. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, what was up with that? Yeah, you sent me that.
Yeah.
What was the...
Then I posted, I saw that as the breaking news, and then I posted it, and it was all over the news over here, of course. And it's horrible. It's horrible because now you have these, and it was done by an arsonist. So you've got all these crazy people. They're coming out. They're like, well, you know what? It's probably the end of the world anyways. Let's just do whatever we want to do.
Let's push it over the edge. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's gradually. Was it the train conductor that did it? No, but
okay,
the conductor died.
Okay. I thought I'd read in that article that they were suspicions of him doing it.
No,
it was just an arsonist, just a scumbag arsonist started a fire on that. Wow.
Exactly.
Did they know who it was? Was there video of who did it? Do they know who did it?
No. I'm not. I have to look into.
There's cameras on the trains here in Georgia. Like all the trains have cameras on them, and that keeps people. Honestly, I think that keeps a lot of people in line. And that's a whole other little philosophical thing I was writing about, is that the new God is cameras everywhere, because people don't want to be seen or recognized doing bad. So all the cameras everywhere are really acting like God's eye in the sky. Like it's people who don't have the right morals and have the right mindset and act right. There's one thing, they don't want to be busted for it. So the camera, the eye in the sky, those cameras, they're keeping people in check that would normally pull shit. So, the more cameras, the better now. I mean, the whole privacy issue. I used to be on that team, but now I recognize there's so many messed up people out there that we just they got to be watched. And that's the only thing that's going to keep them from being to keep them doing the right thing. That's the new God. That's the new moral. The new moral measure is CTV. CCTV is the new moral stick. It's sad, but
to make things worse now, all right. On top of what's going on, we're releasing inmates, right? So we released in New Jersey. They said that they released about 1,000 inmates. They're releasing inmates from Rikers, and I can't understand why. Why are they doing that for?
What are they saying? Are they giving some reason?
You know what? I have to look into that, but it's crazy. They say that it makes more room for like the social distancing, I think.
Right. Well, you know what? I'm personally believe that all the people that are in jail for marijuana should retroactively be released, because it's been legalized. Every place that it's been legalized, anybody serving time for a marijuana bust should be released. I think that non-violent, cocaine's different, crack cocaine's, crystal's different, but marijuana, I think marijuana, like people that are doing time for marijuana should all be released. They should just be released, because it's the most ridiculous. That war has been lost. Okay, the marijuana war has been lost, and let's have some sanity about it, and it would save a lot of money it would save a lot of money on the system for people in general, and create that space. The number of people that are in prison for just ridiculous marijuana buzz. I mean, it's what's the point? How'd you feel to be in prison and they legalize what you got put in prison for, but
I
you
would
still
feel
got to
like
do your time.
I would feel like I should be out. I would call the lawyer. And I try to. Yeah.
Hopefully they get that. But I don't think they do. I don't think you can do that. I think once your sentence been passed, like it's locked in, and that's one of the changes. That's it. Yeah.
It royally sucks.
Yeah. I got it. One of these days, I'll tell you a good story about. I know one of the guys who fought in the early days. His name's Andy Anderson, and he fought, I think, in UFC 3. And then he ran a couple strip clubs in Texas. I knew him, and I'm good friends with his wife. I was friends kind of with him. He was kind of a douchebag, but he got railroaded. He was railroaded in Texas. It's a heck of a story. He was set up as his strip clubs were right near Dallas, where they put the new Dallas Cowboys Stadium in, and Joe, the owner of it, wanted to run out all the strip clubs. I mean, there's Texas's strip club Whataburger. I mean, literally, that's what Texas is. But Jerry Jones, I think that's the name of the owner. He wanted these people out of there, Andy's clubs were grandfathered in. Like they couldn't run him off, and he wasn't playing ball. And I know the guy's Andy Andrew is kind of a scummy guy, douchebag guy. He pulled some shit with me, but he was not a drug dealer. I mean, he was not a drug dealer, just not that kind of guy. Would never. When I was around him, he was never had drugs around. He was always anti-drug. Blah blah blah. His wife will hate me for saying this, but I really know that what happened to him and what he says, and a good friend of mine, Robin, she's a reporter and she's good friends with him. Basically, what happened was this: he does this. He makes friends with odd people and treats them like they're like really close to him. He let this guy borrow his car, okay? And when he got the car back, he let this guy borrow his car. I know, it's stupid, right? He's an idiot. And he lets this guy borrow his car. And when he got his car back, I guess the cops came out of everywhere and they popped the trunk on his car, and there was so much crystal meth in his car. He's in prison for good. Like, he's in prison for good.
Wow.
And yeah, totally. You should look it up. Andy Anderson's thing. He's in federal prison for the rest of his life.
Oh my God. Without shit. That's horrible.
Yeah, it was. I'll just boil down part of the story, but I mean, he's a douchey guy, but nobody deserves to be framed. You know what I mean? Like I actually went out to. He told me to come out to his to Texas, and he had places for me to train. He was gonna be my promoter. Blah 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 blah. Total bullshit. For UFC 8, I went out there. And I gotta tell you, my dick was in the best shape of its life. He owned 3 strip clubs, and I went through every one of the girls.
I can imagine.
He was, he was gonna get a T-shirt. My workout team was gonna be all his girls and me on one T-shirt. But truth of the matter was, I didn't get any better as a fighter in that period of time, and that's a little frustrating. But I had a lot of fun, But that's. I mean, there is a lot of UFC backstories that people don't even know about, I mean, the Joe Son thing. I mean, you know Joe Son is, right? Yeah, I mean,
yes, he was he was a friend of Chemo, right? And he used to come out with the cross on his back.
Yeah, he talked Chemo into carrying that cross out, which almost lost. I mean, he I mean, I can imagine carrying a cross like that out, then having a fight. You're gonna be so tired by the time you're starting.
Yeah,
that was such a bad idea, But then obviously Joe Son showed his true colors. I mean, talk about he got in movies. He was doing great from it, and then like gang rapes a girl. That's just shit. And then kills a guy in prison. Like, come on. I mean, that's you don't that stuff doesn't happen on accident, right?
Yeah. So, some screws loose. One too many.
Looser than John Jones,
Yeah, true. True. Yeah.
There's degrees of. There's degrees of. So yeah.
Speaking of the heyday.
Yeah.
So how now we test for anabolics and all this stuff, but in the heyday we didn't do that, right? So you had a lot of people that came in natural, but then you had a lot of people that came in that the ones that you fought against too. Some of them, I'm not gonna say who in particular, but they look like
you can look and see.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna say that Tito Ortiz tripled his size, but if you take a look when he was a young boy for Tank, do you know that Tito's beginning came as he was one of Tank's like hangers-ons?
Yeah.
That's where he started, and he was like a little kid, and I don't even think steroids could do that for him. I'd have to say growth hormone. And I'm not saying he took growth hormone. I'm just saying that a person that would grow that big would take growth hormone.
Yeah.
And you know how you can tell when somebody's been doing growth hormone? The head grows and they get a bigger forehead and the brow thing. Like basically growth hormone is kind of like pro-magnetizing yourself. And so,
I heard that the bones grow, So
absolutely. It's growth hormone.
Nose grows, everything grows.
Everything grows. Absolutely. And
a little bit bigger.
Yeah. It's and the whole what's my position on that? Well, at the time there was no rules against it, so I'm not going to pass judgment because to be honest with you, I did them one time and they were horrible for me and I got off it quicker than I did for like 6 months, and I got so damn big I couldn't breathe. It just didn't work for me. Like I didn't need to be any bigger. I needed to be leaner. So so I tried it, and I don't think anybody. If anybody's gonna be honest with you as an athlete, they've done something. They've tried something to get an edge. Everybody has, and I don't want to call a guy out, but I had a fight with a guy, and I was pounding on him so hard, he was bleeding out of his eyes. And the word was, because I was hitting him, and it just wasn't registering. But the damage was there. Like he was taking damage, like you wouldn't believe. And at the end of it, no names, I was told by a pretty good source, like one of his guys, that he was taking this thing called Nubane. And it was a thing called, it's a liquid cocaine that you take and you're alert and you're numb at the same time. And it was a bad decision on his part because he took too much damage. He was never quite the same after that.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So you pay a price. A lot of the guys I know that did steroids came out with health issues afterward in a big way. I knew a guy when I was working the strip club who got doing the juice and was just doing it all the time, and he died from his internal organs turning to liquid. Like he liquefied himself, because most of what steroids do is they make your cell blow up with water. The bigger cells, the stronger cells, right? So this guy was putting so much water into his cells just started coming apart. He died. He was 24, 25 years old and basically killed himself doing this shit. So, so see people out there, if you're going to do it, know what you're doing. No judgments here. Know what you're doing, know the price you're going to pay, because there's nothing you get you don't pay a price for. Everything has a price tag.
Yeah.
So if it's worth it to you, good for you.
You decide to prepare for the consequences.
Be prepared. Yeah, be prepared for the consequences, and And people won't say, oh, well, they're testing for things now. As soon as they've got a test, they've got a mask, okay? So the steroids aren't gone. As soon as they've got a test for something, they got a mask.
There are guys in the UFC. Come on, you get to. Now, I'm not going to say who. Again, I'm not going to say who, but I believe the audience already knows who. I don't have to say it, but there's
so many ways around it. You can take the pre-steroidal blocks, take them separately, and then in your body it combines it and makes a steroid, and it looks natural. That's one of the things they're doing. Okay, there's things like that are even naturally will bring up your own testosterone. I used to take it all the time. I used to take it in high school, and I still will someday because I still like the stuff. Traditional ginseng, the pure extract of it, it's like a black tar. You take it, it's like I take it raw, and it brings up your natural testosterone levels. It makes your body produces more testosterone naturally.
Really?
And you get it at the Chinese herbologist. It comes in a little wooden box. You take one little gram teaspoonful of it. I was taking that back in. My dad turned me onto that back in the day, like back as far back as high school. And that's legal. That's legal. I don't think there's, but I mean, they do test for a lot of things now. I mean, poppy seeds. Poppy seeds look like opium, right? And so if you're doing opium, you say, oh, well, I had a poppy seed muffin early, like, oh, well, stop doing that, like, okay, sure, yeah,
retarded.
If you're smart enough and you're ahead of the game enough, there's a way out on everything. There's a way out. It's just the fools who don't think about the future or covering their ass that get caught up, know, and that's just, that's on them. I mean, the guys that if they didn't have access to it, they wouldn't have a career. They just wouldn't have a career. They would never have a career because they just didn't have the I want to say a name so bad, but I can't.
Yeah. It's but we can always hint towards who we could, but it's okay.
I don't call people out and stuff, but it's
some of the guys that you fought, and I'm not gonna say who, but I could tell. But in the heydays, it was
just harder. It was hard. You couldn't. Okay, let me give you a good example of what, and I don't consider it cheating. I don't consider it cheating for 1 second. I just considered it a very cagey and smart old school move that that they just didn't check for at the time. When I fought Marco Ruas in UFC 7, he'd sprayed himself down with mineral oil and let it dry. And once he started sweating, he was so fucking slippery. When I got him in a guillotine choke, front face guillotine choke.
Yeah.
I had the win. I got him in a guillotine. And he climbed up he put his knees up on my legs, and I couldn't. I was like, what the fuck, man? How's this? I was putting that thing in so deep, but he was so slippery. I couldn't. If he was without the oil, I would have done a reverse roll with his neck, his head in that guillotine choke, came up in superior mount, or would have choked him out or popped his head off. But he was so slippery, dude. I couldn't. The finish that I had was not there. And you know what? I do not believe or feel or think for 1 second he was cheating, because you know what? There was nowhere in the rules at the time, and there was very few rules.
There was no rule. Yeah.
There was no rules. So you know what? The motherfucker was. He was yeah, exactly. So I'm not bitter about it, but it is what it is. It's it is what it is. And I mean, a lot of the things that I faced back in the days, especially overseas fights in Brazil and Japan, sometimes they would change the rules the day of the fight, or I fought Nick Nutter down in Sao Paulo. Was it Recife? One of the two. And they let him wrap his hands up, and they didn't let me wrap mine. Like, I started wrapping my hands. Oh, no, you can't have your hands in wraps. And I walk out, and I look across, and his hands are wrapped up like stones. He opened me up with the first punch, cut me under the eye, and it was such fucking bullshit. And Nick's a great guy. He felt bad about it. To this day, he will tell people that was not fair, that was a bad thing, and he's a great guy. It wasn't his fault. Nobody told him I wasn't going to be wrapped up. That was the promoter wanting him to win and me to lose. And it was not Nick's fault. It was just these shady promoters doing shit that was just. Remember, it was Federico Lapenda. Federico Lapenda was the guy who he pulled all kinds of shit on me. But I got Federico in the end. Here's a good one. Okay. I was in Japan fighting in a Japan show, and I was supposedly making $2,000 for the show. That's Federico told me that's all the money was there. Well, the promoter, the Japanese promoter, the guy putting on the fight, after my fight was over, he came to me with $10,000. Oh, here's your money. $10,000. Wow. Federico was getting $8,000 and giving me $2,000. And he swore to me that all that was there was $2,000. He fucked, you know what I mean? And I'd fought under him a lot, so he was screwing me like for a long time. Yeah, that and was so move. The word got back to Federico that I had received the money. And the promoter, that when he handed it to me, he had the biggest smile on his face. Obviously he did not like Federico. He knew what he was doing. And he gave me all the money and said, "Oh yeah, just do whatever you got to do." And I was like, "Son of a bitch!" And this guy's smile went from huge to even bigger. He knew what he just did. It was awesome. And so I called up Federico, Federico called me within an hour. Like, he knew within an hour. And he's all, yeah, so, and I'm like, he didn't even know what to say, right? And I was like, hey, you know what? Come to the airport in LA, pick up your money. Come get what you deserve. And he's all, Paul, come on, don't be like that. I'm like, bro, just come get it. You want it? Come get it. Take it from my hands. And so he never showed up. So, it's not like I didn't have the money for him. I had the money. There. He just didn't have the balls to come show up and get it. He's like, will you send it to me? I said, will you send it to me? I said, no, you can come get it. If you want it, come get it. I guess he didn't want it.
He was afraid of the consequences.
He knew what he did was wrong. He couldn't face me. He couldn't face me down, and God. And I fought under him probably 7 times. He set me up with fights, so he was probably he took a lot of money from me, and so that's the problem with being a fighter. Back in the day, then there wasn't enough money to have a manager. Honestly, I really didn't make enough money to have somebody handle me and really be upstanding. So I was dealing with these, and you can't as a fighter manage yourself. And this brings me to what I did after that fight in Japan. I created a character. I took this. I swear to God, this is true. I took, those wigs, those foam wigs, the foam wig holders. It looks like a head. I drew a face on it. I put Saul across the head, and I became my manager called Saul.
You created a manager.
And I would put that up there, and I'd be like, "Hey, this is Saul calling for Paul. I'm Paul's new manager. You got to work. You're working with me now." And I would do this voice. I swear to God, because you can't negotiate your money as a fighter with a promoter. Like, it's taboo, especially in Japan. So I started doing all my own managing as this character Saul. I created Saul, Okay. And I would put the little foam head thing on the table so I would remember to stay in character. And I was a great negotiator. I'd be like, oh, hey, if the money's right, the money's right. But God forbid, if he finds out you're paying some guy who's never even been in the UFC more than him, oh God, I'm not going to be there for that. And then they'd be like, oh shit, okay, yeah, no, you know what? Maybe we should, let's rethink, because they're always had some favorites, always had some guy pulling some shit who didn't have what I had to bring to the table, and I would brought my money up every time. I'd go from like 5,000. I was making upwards of 10, 15 on shows. I was going from 2,000. Once I started handling my own business, once I got Saul on board, my money went up.
It was smooth sailing.
Well, it was honest sailing. There was the middleman was me, myself, and I.
Yeah, true. Saul is the man.
Saul was the man. He was cool. It wasn't a great. The technique I would use is I would use their own guilt against them. Like if I thought the money was not, they were being fishy, I'd be like, hey man, it's cool. If it's right, it's right. But if he finds out something ain't kosher, man, I don't know what he'll do. He's been jerked around. Like you heard what he did to him. That's why I'm here. I'm here because he does not want to see that guy. And so they were just like, and then you let some silence. You let like a potential threat there, and you let some dead air, and then all of a sudden people's conscience kicks in. They're like, oh yeah, you know what? Actually, I think we got some wiggle room here. I think let me talk to the money would go up. Money would go up. All about negotiation, man.
Awesome. That's an awesome story in itself. So, you creating your own manager.
And it was yeah. Had to.
All right. Well, Paul, I think that
was fun.
Time. Yes. This was episode 2. We got a lot of topics out there. A lot of topics. Important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is there
I think next time let's talk about some movies that have influenced fighting and some movies like historical movies.
Yeah,
I'd love to talk about like Every Which Way But Loose and Rocky and all those kind of things. Yeah. All those kind of social things that have like prepped us for prepped our age group, my age group, and the older age group, a little bit older age group, like Rock'em Sock'em Robots and all, and we had a lot of all those things had a little bit of violence in them. Those blow up clowns that used to beat the hell up. Like I crack up now. People are afraid of clowns nowadays. We used to beat them up, like blow up beat 'em dolls. So yeah, and there's no end to where this goes.
Yeah. So that'll be episode 3. There you go. All
right.
Well, at least a part of it, because how we.
Yeah, part of it.
This. So, all right, Paul. You stay strong.
Yeah, you too.
Be safe. Stay in the house. Social distancing.
Absolutely.
You already know. Great.
You know what's funny? Funny?
Yeah.
Your kitty comes in right about the halfway point of each one of our shows and takes a nap. I love that. I love that.
It's like it's on cue.
Yeah, he comes in right about midway. He rolls up. He does a little circle, and he curls up and says, "Okay, I'm sleeping."
And he wants to be a star.
He is a star.
Yeah, he's famous. Right, Onyx?
Captain Mittens. Onyx. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Or you can call him whatever you want.
It's all good. Onyx. I love Onyx. All right. Well, we'll do this again soon.
Okay.
Number 3.
Stay strong.
Yep. You too.
That's a wrap.